Warning! This recording contains live commentary. Duh. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Single Player Gaming Commentary with Gaming. Only this time it's just me, and my name is Dan Guy. Today we are going to be discussing a web game, and before you throw things at me, no. It's not a bad web game. I'm not advertising one. It's just amazing. I have that confession to make. I do love searching the internet for the gems of the web gaming world, and I know there are tons of them that suck. So for those of you who are about to click away, don't, because this one is a true gem. For those of you who like strategy, and for those of you who enjoy tower defense. Now, Gemcraft. Essentially the premise is you have a ton of mana, and you craft gems and place structures, both of which cost mana. And, your enemies walk down the path to get to your finishing orb, whatever, obviously, and every time they get there, you lose a little bit of mana, so you have to manage how much you have and make sure you always got a buffer. Basic concepts: the structures you can place are towers, out of which gems, if they are placed in a tower, will shoot. You have traps, which you can lay on the actual path, and you can put gems in them. Their special abilities, and we'll get into that later, will be enhanced, but their damage will be severely weakened. You also have amplifiers, which do what it says, and you have special little towers you can make, shrines almost, that when you insert a gem into, they will promptly make a huge burst of energy depending on the strength of the gem. It sounds relatively simple until you get into some of the other stuff. The gems. There are actually 9 different kinds in the latest installment, Gemcraft 2, Chasing Shadows, which has been out for almost a year now, I believe, developed by GameInABottle.com. Go there, they are amazing, but play it on Armor Games, because Armor Games is the best mobile. Wow, this is just turning out perfectly well, just great. Check them out on armorgames.com because they're an awesome web game site. So, where was I? Right. There are 9 different kinds of gems, all of which have a different special effect, and they have different tiers. So a tier 1 gem is less expensive than a tier 2 gem, but it also deals less damage and has a less prominent special effect. To upgrade a gem, you can either spend the mana on a gem of the exact same stats and level it to get a pure gem, or you can actually have a multi-class gem, a multi-thing gem. So you can have a gem that's both armor-tearing and mana farming, or both poison and bloodbound, which means that it gets stronger as it deals more damage, and kills more things. So very interesting, very integral with whatever stage you're looking at. And then the waves. Oh, let's talk about the waves. We have a bar on the far left-hand side that it's one of the slowly creeping kinds, where when the bar hits the next wave thing, it'll send the wave that was just destroyed. And that's pretty awesome, that's pretty nice. But you can make the waves harder to increase your XP, and again, we'll talk about that in a bit, because this game is so multifaceted and so awesome. When the wave bar hits the next thing, the wave is sent out, but you can make it harder by dropping a gem that you crafted. You had to spend some mana to craft a gem, and drop it on top of that wave. So if you feel like it's too easy, you can ramp up the difficulty and reap some XP rewards in the process. Gemcraft 2 also introduced a new awesome little thing. Sometimes in between waves there will be little squares that'll hit the wave bar, and when those little squares do, it'll have some effect depending on what it is. So it spawns a bunch of beacons, and we'll get into that in a bit. Or it increases your mana pool, or you take a certain amount of mana away. There's wonderful, varying effects that really ramp up the excitement and apprehension about tower defense game, which you normally don't get because tower defense is typically a very boring genre. Now, all of that's enough to take in, and we're not even to the leveling systems and everything. But there's also environmental objects on the battlefield. You can have, a chest, or a pile of rocks, or something, and you can destroy these by attacking them enough with the towers that you have, And if you do, then you can often reap a ton of rewards. Sometimes there will even be a special little locked chest, and there are special levels too, which we'll get into in a bit, where you have to have a certain amount of enemies attacked in a certain particular way within that thing's radius for it to unlock and get you a new spell or whatever. So, that's enough as it is, I'm pretty sure. But we do have more, because outside the game, all these currencies and everything come to life. The first and most important is obviously the XP system, and the Shadow Cores. Shadow Cores are basically your main currency. They're used to make levels harder, work on your talisman. They do a ton of stuff, which we'll get into. And you earn them oftentimes by breaking through chests or whatever. Sometimes monsters will carry them, and they're a random drop when they die, which is pretty nice. So, making the levels more difficult. That's the main thing that Shadow Cores do. You can change the difficulty, main difficulty. You can add particular little buffs to the enemies that make it harder for you, or decrease your mana size. You can do a bunch of fun things with Shadow Cores to make the level more difficult, and with the difficulty spike comes an XP spike into XP. When you level with XP, you get your wizard level, and depending on your wizard level, you have a certain thing of skills. And yes, this is extremely weird, but follow me along. We have skills as well. And these skills translate to your overall battle damage, etc., etc., etc. And you have a certain amount of skill points. Again, that is determined by your level, and you get them when you level. But you also get them from doing other things. Getting achievements, getting a level difficulty, getting a thing, there's tons of stuff that you can do to get these. So, to review, gems, ton of gems, put them in things. The things shoot things. And if you shoot environmental things, you get things. And if you drop a gem on a wave, you get a harder wave. And if sometimes there's little squares in the waves, and that means it's weird. There's tons of kinds of enemies, blah, 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 tower defense stuff. Outside of it, you have an XP system. You can make levels harder with Shadow Cores. And when you level, you get new skills, you get skill points from other things, you use them to get the skills better, you can move around your skill points and be smart in the wizards. And you can cast lots of spells. You can see why I like this game so much. Anyone who likes strategy games will immediately fall in love with this because it's so tweakable. You can change so many things. But wait, there's more. Another drop you can get from the enemies in Gemcraft is a talisman fragment. You can increase the likelihood that you will get one with Shadow Cores before you enter any particular level. And talisman fragments go into your talisman. Basically, you have 5 slots for each kind of fragment in your talisman, and each fragment does a thing. So, increase the damage of this particular spell by X amount. Increase the mana pool by X amount. Increase whatever. They are essentially skills, but they don't take up a skill slot, because they are amazing like that. So, you can upgrade them to a certain extent with Shadow Cores, and once you do, you can also decraft them, take them apart, whatever it is, and get some Shadow Cores in return, so it's not completely non-refundable for when you get tons of them and you don't want some anymore. Well, that's a lot to take in. Is there anything else I am missing? Yes, there is. There's about a bajillion achievements you can get, which some people are interested in and some people are not. So if you are, that's cool. You get a ton of different achievements. The achievements give you more XP, and the XP makes you stronger. Well, we've got just one thing left to cover. The kinds of levels, especially in Gemcraft Labyrinth, these were really important, but in Gemcraft 2, Gemcraft 1, Gemcraft 0, these are also really important. There are basically 3 kinds of levels, and the last was introduced in Gemcraft 2, which is my favorite game ever. The first is the standard kind of level, where you have to get the monsters and kill them, etc., etc., etc. The second kind of level is an epic level, and to beat an epic level in Gemcraft 1 and Gemcraft 0, you had to beat a boss who had an obscene amount of health and an obscene amount of just destruction and decimation all over the battlefield. In Gemcraft Labyrinth, it was introduced an epic level, and in an epic level, you had to charge certain towers, And you did that by shooting them. And you wouldn't stop, the barrage wouldn't stop until you had all those towers completely charged up, which was an ingenious idea, and it allows for almost endless play if you like that. And in Gemcraft 2, they have that as well. But Gemcraft 2 also added a thing. You have spells. Instead of having your towers shoot for you, you can have your towers shoot for you and cast spells on the battlefield. You can enhance your towers temporarily with them, you can freeze your enemies, you can do stuff. They're unlocked in these special levels. I believe they're called Wizard Hut levels or something to that nature, but whatever they are amazing, and they are the ones where you have that special structure, and within a certain range of that structure, you have to get enemies to take damage in a certain way, or have a certain amount of hits, or freeze a certain number. It's very, very multifaceted, and it's very, very engaging, so I would suggest strongly you check it out. It is probably the best web game series I have found to this day. It is completely free, which is amazing, but if you want to support the developers, you can unlock a couple of extra difficulty settings, some new achievements, you can unlock some extra levels, and just general goodness by paying the $6 in Gemcraft Labyrinth or in Gemcraft 2 for what is known as the Magician's Pouch, which just gives you more stuff, I guess. You get special talisman fragments, you get special other things. It's a beautifully constructed game that is just difficult enough that it's challenging, but just easy enough that it is not impossible. The graphics are absolutely spectacular, and the developer is very, very involved with the players of the game. It's just an all-around amazing experience. So I would strongly recommend that you check it out by clicking on the link in the description, and it'll take you straight to Gemcraft 2 Chasing Shadows, because that's the best game ever. If you would like to play the previous games in the Gemcraft series, then look no further than the search bar on armorgames.com, search Gemcraft, Gemcraft, no spaces, and you can get all 4 of them right there in the search bar. How convenient is that? They are on a couple of other websites, including the GameInABottle.com web dev website, but if you want the full experience, you are actually locked from getting certain things unless you are playing on Armor Games. So do that. You have an online save option or a local save option, and if you local save, if you clear your cookies, that local save will be gone. So I recommend an online save by getting an account with ArmorGames.com. It's absolutely free, and it's really easy to use. So, that was a huge mouthful. I'm surprised I remembered all of that on the first take. We're 12 minutes and 38 seconds in, so that's pretty nice. When we add all the intro and the outro and the special stuff, it'll probably be a respectable amount of time. Probably not as long as the Gamer Talk and Frameless Gaming episodes, but we are definitely gonna come close. So, in case you didn't hear me at the beginning, my name is Dan Guy, and this is Invisible Gaming. Thank you so much for listening / watching / whatever you're doing here. If you like what you hear, make sure to wow, I messed that up really bad. If you like what you hear, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more analytical commentary and other random stuff here at Invisible Gaming and Single Player. And check us out on our website at https://site/official Invisible Gaming, or follow us on our Google Plus page at a link so complicated and weird that I will not pronounce it on this show. However, that about does it for the show. Now that we've got all the links and all the shameless promotions out of the way. For those of you who are confused as to why there was no episode last week, I do apologize, but we are putting together some pretty awesome stuff for you guys for when Season 2 starts, and it's going to be amazing, and I can't tell you what it is, which makes me so sad, but it is going to be an awesome time, so be sure to subscribe for that when it comes out. So, does that wrap us up for the show? I think that wraps us up for the show. Are we sure? Are we sure? I think we are. Take it away, then guy in the future doing the editing with your outro or whatever. I'm sure you'll have something to say. Maybe you won't, but I'm hoping you will. Well. Tons of mistakes, tons of failures, tons of repeating myself. That was this episode. If you like what you heard, then you're a strange person, but thanks for supporting the show, I guess. My name is Dan Guy, and this is Invisible Gaming. Take it away, Dan Guy from the future, editing this thing. Go! Hello, Dan Guy from the past. This is Dan Guy from the future, with the sign-off thing, whatever that you wanted. If you guys like some gamer talk or some frameless gaming, we're gonna get back to that. However, for those of you who do not know, in Wake County, North Carolina, it has been snowing something fierce the last couple of weeks, and we have had some serious off days. So, in trying to juggle all of that makeup work and confusion and all the stuff that's been going on, we have been trying to produce the content that will actually be uploaded, since we have to render it and edit it and put all the clips together and do the special stuff with the audio and the stuff. It takes more work than you would think, ladies and gentlemen, out in the YouTube world. It takes more than you would think. So, if you guys would like to see more of that, we're going to work on it, but for now, we've just got to stay with the thing that we've got. Thank you for believing in us, or whatever. I don't know, some really mushy comment or thing that you're supposed to say when you want people to believe in you and support you and all your things. So, I say so a lot, but so. I realize that so is a needle pulling thread, but so. Any Sign of Music fans out there? No? Okay. This episode is an absolute mess. Oh, jeez. I should probably go before I mess anything else up. Go, outro. I didn't do the wins either, so let's do that right now in front of everybody so that everybody will know who the true victor is. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Gemcraft wins!